Okay.
We did it.
Yay. We're live everywhere. Hey, Sid.
Hey, Dad.
What's going on?
Nothing. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you. This is the very last live that we're doing. Wait, I'm doxing us. In the state that we are currently in.
You can dox it. It's honestly, you can dox us because we're leaving. So like,
okay,
give them our whole address. At this
okay,
point.
This is the last live we're doing in California, and then we're moving. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're not coming right away. You're going to music festivals?
Yeah, I'm going to stay here for a little bit. So I think, we haven't told her yet, but maybe Mackie's going to do the live.
Oh, yeah. Is Mackie here? If Mackie is here yet.
She's probably like, what are you talking about?
Oh, she just joined, I think. Yeah. So she will be helping me with the lives. But hey, do you ever, would you ever, like, what are the festivals you go to? Do you talk about that?
I'm going to Coachella. I've never gone to that before.
Okay.
And then I'm going to I don't even know what it's called, but it's for EDM. And I don't really listen to that, but I do if the person next to me is listening to it, you know?
Okay. Oh, and that's the Boots and Cats and Boots and Cats. That's that whole thing. Is that EDM? No.
Boots and Cats?
You know that one?
Oh, like Boots and Cats.
Yeah.
That's not EDM. But...
Okay. What is Boots and Cats?
I don't know. Like rapping? I don't know.
Okay. Now I think I actually am right on that one, isn't it? Boots and Cats and Boots. That's not EDM?
No. What?
Okay, hang on. I'm Googling that. I think
what
that is.
What are you saying?
What kind of music does
EDM's like electronic, no.
Cats and
Boots and Cat. What are you looking at?
I don't know. Boots and Cats drum beat. That is from.
Are you gonna freestyle?
Yes. Yeah, we gotta give me 3 words and I'll bust out a sick rhyme.
Boots and Cats.
Okay. No, I can't do that. Okay. Let's start right out. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. This is my daughter, Sydney. Okay. And we are here to answer your relationship questions and answers. We can talk fluent ADHD. We can talk narcissism and emotional immaturity. What else?
We're really especially good at ADHD and being emotionally mature, personally at least.
Exactly. Some very good examples of that.
We have Reddit stories today.
Yeah, the Reddit stories are fun. I have not heard them. So before we get to a Reddit story, so I had a client this morning, and she was talking about her success on a dating site. And
her success?
No, her lack of success.
Okay, that
and
sounds
she's
more right.
Great. I mean, she's a wonderful person. So, felt like now here's the old man. What's the deal with these dating sites?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't like them either. I liked them for a second, but I was too scared to actually go on a date with someone on it.
Did you ghost them?
Maybe.
Okay. I was going to ask, do more males or females ghost? And I don't even know if that's if we have that data.
I don't know. It's just I also just kind of hate the idea of it. It's I feel like it's so surface level. But I guess everything is surface level the second you meet someone. I don't know.
Well, I know what you're saying, though, because do you ever feel like people are just not really, they're just trying to give as little as possible about who they are? So are you trying to guess who that person is?
Well, you just can't know anything about someone from a dating profile, you know?
No, you cannot.
And it's I feel like everyone is trying so hard to have a good
Guys
dating
never
profile.
Ghost. Guys never ghost.
Do they? Wait, let me think.
Oh, no.
I'm thinking of my personal experience.
Oh, have you had that? Yeah.
No, I've been ghosted before by a man.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So, what was I talking about?
I know I cut you off.
Oh yeah, I just don't like how it's all based on your photo.
Yeah. And a movie quote, and if you have a dog, and does it wear a bandana, and can you get a hold of a little niece or nephew?
Yeah, and that always worked on me too. If they had a dog, I'm like, we're getting married.
Okay. Didn't matter what kind of dog?
No, of course not.
Okay. So on that note, though, I forgot I was going to set this up all clever. I was going to say, Sid, what do tankless water heaters have to do with online dating?
What?
Do you know what a tankless water heater is?
A water heater without a tank?
That is exactly correct. You know what the benefit of a tankless water heater is?
No.
So we have them at the new house. And so theoretically, you don't run out of hot water. So you could just take a continuous hot shower for the rest of your life.
Oh, love that.
Right? So, So anyway, that's my setup. What do tankless water heaters have to do with online dating? Now, okay, we did that part. So this girl that I was talking to today, she met a guy online, and then they talked a little bit back and forth. They went on a date, and it was pretty good. And so then she said, let's go out again next week. And so then I wrote down the notes here when I was in session today. They text early. She doesn't hear from him again. Then he texts, he said, let's go out on a Saturday. So then they text, and then she never hears from him again. So the next day he says, I'm sorry, I fell asleep. First of all, I want you
For
to
a whole day?
okay, so I love your reaction.
Are we hibernating?
Yeah.
Is it the winter?
And when he woke up, so let's give him the benefit of the doubt, and he fell asleep at 4 in the afternoon, and then he slept until the next day at like 2. Let's just say for the sake of our benefit of the doubt.
Hard worker.
Okay. So then he said, "Man, I'm so sorry I fell asleep." And but then he said, "Let's can we just go grab coffee a little bit later today?" So she said, "Okay, well, all right, let's try it again." So she said, "Yes."
And is this on Sunday then?
Yeah, then it's on Sunday.
After?
And then he said, "Okay, I'm just gonna jump in the shower, and then I will text you." And
how long did he shower for?
so she hears him from Monday evening. So from Sunday at about 2 in the afternoon till Monday evening. So that's why, and I love that I was getting ready to queue up a very solid line, and then she beat me to it. And she said, so I texted him immediately. That was the longest shower I've ever heard of. And so I laughed about that. And then I said, he must have had a tankless water heater, which was not funny to her either.
Oh.
And then I was like saying, okay, how wrinkly and pruny would the guy's skin be if he had showered for, I guess that's approximately 26 hours. So I don't think that he was actually in the shower the entire time. Spoiler.
No, probably not.
And then she just said a couple funny things about the shower thing, and he said sorry, and then she hasn't heard from him since today's Thursday. Mm-hmm. So would you ever entertain that guy again if he?
Yes. That's not what you should do.
It's the wrong answer.
You shouldn't do that, obviously.
No, you should not. Yeah.
No, that's not good. Like, that's obviously just showing that he doesn't respect her.
Yeah.
And like at the bare minimum, you deserve respect. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. So I mean, do you think in hindsight, if somebody said they fell asleep and then they don't text you back till the next day, I mean, is that enough data to say, why am I gonna waste my time?
Is that enough data? Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because I think about this concept when we talk about emotional immaturity or narcissistic traits tendencies, and they typically prey on the pathologically kind person. Mm-hmm. So it is that person that's going to say, well, maybe he really did fall asleep for the last 23 hours. Because I don't think it's too difficult for somebody to wake up later and say, I am so sorry. Mm-hmm. I fell asleep, or first thing the next morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just hate that because, like, as someone who's like, I'm really bad at texting back a lot of the time. I still know, like, it's not that freaking hard.
Yeah, that's what I think.
To send a text. And especially if you could send the one that's saying you're like getting in the shower, then why can't you send the one that says, like lie at that point? Like,
right?
No, he did lie, and he just actually was bad at lying.
Yeah.
But like, just to not even like have the decency to be real with her, tell her what's going on in his day, like.
So one of the things I love about my job as a therapist is I get to see a variety of people, all kinds of people, but I'll have a couple where the guy will say, the wife will say, I've asked him to try to connect more with me or let me know when he's coming home or whatever. And he's always, I'm so busy. I was never on my phone. And so if I ever even say, oh, see, you could show her right now, show her, you haven't texted anybody, you haven't done anything. And that's when he'll be like, well, I mean, it's not that I haven't been on my phone. And so it's like an excuse. And I have to tell you, I have a literal cardiac surgeon of a client, and he'll like text me sometimes and say, hey, I'm not gonna be able to make my appointment. So if the heart surgeon, when he has to go to the bathroom, can shoot a quick text, then I'm thinking the guy that
he's supposed to love you.
Yeah. It can't let you know that he forgot or so I think I think you're right.
Why do you think that the ghoster in this scenario being the guy, like with your first client, why do they do that? Like, is it because they're like, why do they do that? Are they just uncomfortable?
I would say I think it's one of those where they don't want to deal with the discomfort of having to potentially make her feel bad because that makes him feel bad. So then what does he do with this discomfort? He just ignores it. And so then at that point, he feels okay. And now
he's still making her feel bad.
But he doesn't maybe necessarily care.
But he doesn't have to be involved.
Yeah. And
in the conversation where she feels bad.
Yeah. And so then when he comes back, if he decides later that maybe I do want to go out with her, then it's like, oh man, so sorry. I fell asleep. And then if that works, and he's like, oh, that was easy.
Oh yeah. And maybe in like a way he thinks like the more unavailable he is, like the more appealing that would be to her.
That's the thing too.
As opposed to just seeming like busy. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I go back and forth.
Well, tell me your thoughts. Because so I've got somebody that I'm working with today, and they're going through a separation, and I really like the guy a lot, and it's that concept of nice guy syndrome where he's just like, I'll do whatever she needs me to whenever she needs me to. I'll make her life as easy as I can. But in essence, she doesn't necessarily like that because he's also not, he's like kind of not standing up for himself. And so she doesn't really feel as safe emotionally in the relationship. And so do you like a guy that is he's just at your beck and call? He'll do whatever you need?
No.
Okay, so why? Why?
That like would suffocate me, I feel like. And I feel like, I don't know. I know that there's like a level of that's good. And it's like, that's your love language is like gift giving and stuff.
Or acts of service or quality time.
That's good. Yeah. But I don't know. I really need like my personal space in a relationship a lot. I feel like, like ideally, even if I don't know. I'm like, if I had a husband, the fact that you have to hang out with them every single day kind of seems like a lot. That does
kind of go with it usually.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that. But
okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I need like space, I feel like.
Okay. That's funny though. Have you never really put those pieces together that like in a marriage that you probably see each other quite a bit?
Just right now that's happening. I have thought though, if I do get married, I want to have a separate room than them.
That's a thing these days. Did you know that?
100% I want to have a separate room. I do not want your man air touching my beautiful girl air. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I do.
You wouldn't.
Okay. Man air. All right.
Yeah.
Let's hit these. We got questions coming up. So get your questions in. And thank you. Wendy has questions over here. Mackie is, am I her therapist? I mean, I'm your dad. That kind of counts for something, right?
Also pretty much my therapist at this point.
But not
Sorry,
directly.
Rachel, I ghosted her.
Not, but not directly though. I mean, you're getting therapy through putting clips together on TikTok, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But it does help when I edit your TikToks. I have to hear them over and over and over and over and over again.
You get
to hear them. I'm physically forced to hear them over and over again.
What a joy.
It like clicks and I'm like, wow.
What a joy to hear them over and over again. Okay, online dating stats. This is there's a new Forbes poll out. I know. So a survey from one poll, Forbes Health conducted in August of 2023, polled 5,000 respondents who have actively dated in the last 5 years and looked into how people date, how they prefer to date, online and app-based dating, and more. Nearly 70% of individuals who met somebody on a dating app said it led to romantic, exclusive relationships, while 28% said it did not. I think that number is high.
Wait, I totally zoned out. 72%. Well,
it says nearly 70% of individuals who met someone on a dating app said it led to a romantic, exclusive relationship, while 28% said it did not.
I don't believe it.
And I guess there, in one sense, though, is 70%. It doesn't say I don't know what the time frame is to consider that a romantic, exclusive relationship. Was it a week?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, it could have not lasted super long.
Oh, listen. Okay, individuals between ages 43 and 58 found the most success with online dating, with 72% stating that meeting on a dating app led to a romantic relationship. 43 to 58. That's really old to you, right?
What?
That's the most successful age range.
That's probably when their brains are developed. Honestly, that's how I feel at this point.
Okay. Hey, okay. Males were more likely to have met someone on a dating app and have it led to an exclusive relationship, 75% compared to 66% of females.
Pretty similar, honestly.
Okay. So here's where the stats, I think these are really interesting. Online dating is still popular. Okay. With nearly 3 in 10 US adults saying they've used a dating site or app, which is kind of funny because as a marriage therapist, like a legit marriage therapist, some of those that are using the dating apps are actually also married.
Oh, I would say a lot of them. I would say over half.
You know what's funny to me is, I mean, it's sad and tragic, but also funny is, you know, how if you're looking at things online, then you'll get all the ads for stuff. Like currently I'm getting lots of ads for any kind of sock because I like socks. Mm-hmm. So now it's like every time I go on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, socks. And so eventually I'm like, fine, I'll buy the socks, or I'll need to start Googling soap or something like that. So I'll get a new feed. Mm-hmm. I've had more than one time where like a spouse will say to me, hey, I'm getting a whole lot of dating app ads. Why was that weird? They're married. Mm-hmm. So that means in this scenario, it turned out that her husband was like getting on dating apps and he didn't know that then it was now going to show him ads about dating apps.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you warned out there, cheaters.
That's right. I know I shouldn't be telling that, right? Okay.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
What do you think about like how do you think that this has an effect on relationships in general, like in this, like in our time right now? What do you think dating apps does to that, like negatively, like married relationships?
Oh gosh, that's even a whole different. Okay.
Because I feel like it's kind of crazy how accessible like we are to each other now. You know what I mean? It's like temptation for men or women is like so easy.
Yeah. And I hate the slippery slope argument, you know, because sometimes people go overboard. You know, it's like everything ends with a couple of booted thugs are going to be breaking down your door and stealing your kids or whatever like that. You know, the slippery. Okay, I'll stay with me here. So the slippery slope argument, it kills me, but there's some truth in the concept of where I have had guys that have said, no, I'm married, but I download a dating app just because I want validation. But then it's like, oh, okay. So the validation sometimes leads to, no, I actually feel a connection. And, you know, I'm just kind of helping her. We were just going to have coffee and now they're in a full-fledged affair. So I think that's been a really bad thing, needless to say, because but I thought where we were going to go with that is, so to me, and I think I've mentioned this before, but I've been doing this a long time. I've been a marriage and family therapist almost 20 years. And there was I almost feel like a sweet spot for a while where there weren't the swipe-based dating apps. You had to go online, you create an account, and then you like Match.com or something, and you would have to fill out literally like a 15-page, almost like a personality survey or questionnaire thing. And they were so detailed, and they had questions that would then basically like control questions that would make sure that you were consistent with your answers. And then they really made their money on the algorithms. And so then they would spit out, this person is your match, and their success rate was insane.
Why'd they stop that?
Because now we have apps where you can take pictures with a dog and a waterfall and a cousin and then a movie quote, and that's all you need. So
do you think people would rather like be more shallow? Is that like what that means?
Yeah,
well, like people would rather just like base it off of your appearance than off of a questionnaire?
Yeah, because we have this tendency to like, we assume that then if I find this person attractive, then that means I'm sure everything else will fall in line.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Like we've talked about those levels of intimacy, and it's where you find somebody and you find them attractive. Like if you put that up on the top of the intimacy ladder, then underneath that is all kinds of layers of verbal intimacy. And even below that is psychological intimacy, where you have honesty, trust, loyalty, and commitment. Mm-hmm. So then those are what we're going to try to achieve. But you start from verbal intimacy. Like, can I just talk to this person? So that part is gone because you don't have to talk to them yet because they're hot, you know, and then up from verbal intimacy is emotional intimacy. Up from that is cognitive and intellectual intimacy, spiritual intimacy, and physical. So people just say they're hot, then they try to talk, and it's like, oh, I don't really like talking to this person, but they're hot, so it'll be okay. Or they open up emotionally, share their feelings, and the person's like, oh, geez, that sounds like a you thing, but they're attractive. And so then we build the relationship off of physical appearance. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now, and that's kind of like, we're hardwired that way. So then these dating sites were at least
we're hardwired. Like, is that really how we're hardwired?
Well, it's so this is that theory of where, you know, the human brain initially evolved to say, I must find one willing mate. I will then pour out tons of dopamine, you know, in the animal kingdom, beat chest, like put up plumage, feathers, that sort of thing, impress the one mate, go mate with them, reproduce, and that's it.
And then cheat on them. Sorry, the one mate thing was getting me.
I mean, we were talking like the animal kingdom, which I guess we're part of, but that was the belief of that. It's like that physical attraction is the first thing where it gets me in, you know, now I see that person, you know, and so now that brain says, in order to evolve the species, we must have kids. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Kind of, yeah. You were saying, so it's like your animal instinct.
Yeah,
it's like the bird with the pretty feathers.
Yeah, totally. And so instead of a 20-page dating app that then spits out an algorithm-based thing that says you guys are a match, and now you read, oh my gosh, they like this stuff too. I haven't even seen pictures of them yet. So by the time I meet them, they've already have the verbal intimacy, the emotional intimacy, like that's already solid. So then the physical is a byproduct of those. And so the swipe-based apps, they give you your dopamine dump. I've never actually done one, I can honestly say, being married to your mom 34 years. But
Tony.
But do you feel like though the swipe-based stuff, I mean, theoretically that's giving you a dopamine bump. Do you enjoy that?
I did. I did at the time. I remember that. Like, it was totally just like a validation thing. It was just like a game for me.
Yeah.
Which sounds so bad to say.
But I think it's pretty normal though.
But yeah, I was just like, ooh, I wonder who thinks I'm pretty, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, and then I'm doing the same thing. I'm like judging these guys that I don't even know.
Yeah.
And it just started making me feel like crappy all the time. Okay. Like I would just like go into the app and I'd be like, ooh, I don't want to be here.
Okay. And so like that though, before you finally decided not to be there, how does one overcome feeling crappy? I need more validation.
Oh, that's true. And I could see how that would get confused, right? Because the app that's making you feel crappy is also where you're getting your dopamine from.
So I've never actually thought about that. So you got trauma bond. You're trauma bonded to the app.
I'm trauma bonded to Hinge.
because like the trauma bond, right? The same thing that gives you the punishment also delivers the reward. So the same thing that makes you feel invalidated is the thing you're going to for validation. Whoa.
Wow. You guys are all in an abusive relationship with your dating app. And you're not even in a relationship.
No. And that makes people feel bad right now. So what they do, they find themselves like going to the dating app, like I need validation. You know, it's almost like robot.
No, yeah, I totally would do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. How are you even supposed to meet someone?
Well, that's the part I'm waiting for. You know how
do I just stand outside my house? I'm like, hey.
Well, it's funny because so I know the therapist answer. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So the therapist answer is that you need to let go of this. I need to find a relationship, and you become the best version of yourself. And then you now put yourself in positions where you're doing things that matter to you. I always give like a silly example of rock climbing. All of a sudden, it's like you like rock climbing. So you become a rock climber and you read rock climbing magazines and you go to the rock climbing gym and, oh, there's a guy there and he likes rock climbing. So we're talking about rock climbing. All of a sudden, we want to go get a bite to eat together. And we have this like mutually reciprocal relationship, and we're not having to pretend that's anything different. And then that's like where things, that doesn't mean that now we like every single thing, but we have this shared experience. Now we feel like a sense of community, and now we can build from that. So go rock climbing.
Yeah, I like that. And like to even like answer my own question, I feel like there shouldn't be a timeline on, and that is what you just said, right? There shouldn't be a timeline on anything. It's like, and you shouldn't be like searching for someone. I feel like if it's meant to be, it will just happen, Which
and I like somebody there. One says he's going to say to do the stuff you like and meet someone doing the same thing. I love it. That's exactly it. And so in that scenario, though, what
if the stuff you like is alone, though?
Like what?
Like what if you just like painting, Like, so you're painting alone.
Yeah.
You join a painting class?
Well, I mean, I know that's, again, I almost feel like I am obligated by law as a therapist in order to keep my license to say that. Well, then you can get into a painting forum and talk about paint. I mean, I'm not a very good painter. So
there's a Reddit for everything.
That's right. Okay, here we go. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Oh, wait, we didn't finish these. Real quick, we'll blast through the speed round. When asked how they currently feel about dating, nearly 36% of respondents stated somewhat positively, and 24% said very positive, while almost 23% felt indifferent.
And only 4% felt very negatively. Okay. Well, I do actually know one person who's in a successful relationship right now from a dating app.
Really? Okay. So
it's going well for her.
Okay.
Yeah, but I did end up meeting that guy's roommate, and he was terrible. So did not go good for me.
So what's interesting here too is that I just kind of feel like maybe these numbers are inflated a little bit. And I do feel like there's like
maybe this is like an ad for Hinge or something.
Right. See. Oh, okay. Tell me that a little more than half of all respondents found looks and personality to be equally as important ahead of a first date.
Equally? I don't think it's equul.
Yeah.
I feel like
how do you know the personality from a swipe-based app?
Yeah, you don't.
So you're actually, I bet that people are making a bit of, I'm wondering if people making a bit of a relational frame of, well, if they look cool, they must have a good personality.
Yeah.
So then,
and also just if like looks and personality are equal to you in importance, I feel like you're just going to miss out on so many like good people who could be so much more perfect for you than like the hot guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
But everyone's different, I guess.
I know we're going to start getting to the questions. I just saw one. See, I like what Pietro says. I think dating apps just destroyed actual dating. I really think so. And then here's what somebody said
is like kind of destroyed. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think guys like ask girls out on dates anymore. Or maybe it's just me.
Well, Lena Ray said,
like, you guys are all going, okay, never mind.
Lena, I will definitely judge the type of friends they have. Like, I like that point. What do you think about that?
Wait, what
so she said, I will definitely judge the type of friends that they have.
I think it's definitely shows a lot about their character. Totally. Yeah. Who someone hangs out with shows a lot about them. I mean, it's not like a your friends are weird, I can't hang out with you anymore.
Right.
But like the people that you spend most of your time with, of course that says something about you. So like if their friends are really like insane, bad, terrible people, then I get that.
That makes sense. She said, yes, girl.
But it is like hard because it's hard to like know how much you can judge anyone that you don't know. You know, because you can't.
Yeah.
You're just guessing.
Yeah. I mean, we all make that we've talked about, we make an observation and we put a judgment in with it and we kind of start from there. So it actually takes a lot of work to separate the observation from a judgment. Like if somebody right, if somebody works in a certain, I don't know, what's something that that'd be bad. Like, what's a job that you would think, oh, I have a certain opinion about what this guy does because what his job is?
Crypto guy.
Okay. So you hear that he's
You're asking me to get in trouble.
I know, that's what I feel bad.
Come at me, crypto man.
If he's like, oh, I'm in crypto, what do you do?
Honestly, not even. I don't even understand that at all.
Oh, well, back in my day, I mean, it was always like, it was like you would say something like, oh, what if they're a garbage man? But then it's like, then that feels bad because garbage people are people too, and they're wonderful and all that. So I don't,
Just keep going. What is your point though?
That sometimes people say, oh, if they work in that thing, they must be.
Oh, you're talking about assumptions.
Yeah. Oh, police. What if he's police or military?
Yeah, not to. Oh, let's skip that one. Not to like make an assumption too, though. But I feel like if you are assuming someone's this way because of a job, then that just kind of shows a lot about your character too.
Yeah.
Because no one knows anything, and if you think you do, you're literally wrong. You know.
Yeah. I know somebody was telling me they were saying how their parent was telling them all about why the things that I must be, I'm only doing this for the money. I'm going to tell them whatever they want to hear, all those kind of things. So I was like, oh, that's amazing that your parent who's never gone to therapy knows about me and my 20 years of experience as a therapist and has listened to the 700 podcasts I've done. That's, they sound really special. Okay.
Just guessing.
Let's get over these questions, right? Oh, okay. Petro sent us 12 roses. Probably you.
Thanks, Pete.
It's probably you. It's probably you. Hannah says howdy.
Hannah's the one who has a boyfriend from a dating app. To expose you, Hannah.
She just loves a virtual catch, which is my podcast. Thank you, Hannah. Okay, here we go. One says, how do you put yourself out there if you have terrible self-confidence and self-esteem? That's a great question.
I don't. You know my answer to this, but I don't know if it's right. Like I feel like you just kind of have to, and that's different. Like some people physically, like you're going through something mentally where you can't.
Yeah.
But I feel like you don't really know how you're gonna act in a situation until you're in it.
Yeah.
And worrying about it is just like having to do it twice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good.
So like, I don't know. I feel like there are totally days where I feel so ugly and not confident at all. But I feel like when I just kind of pretend that I'm fine, try to remember the days where I'm good, that like makes me feel better.
Okay.
But if your baseline already is that low initially, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I like that you went to, my emotional baseline theory, if you're, when things are clicking, your baseline emotions are up here high, and everything that you're interacting with from a place where you feel pretty good. So it's a little bit easier to go out and do things. But if you're starting to feel bad, and a lot of things can lower your baseline, even if you're sick, or if you just feel more isolated, or if you're just kind of feeling off, having a bad day, your emotional baseline's low. And from there, you just don't want to do anything. And so sometimes, would you ever ask a friend to come get you out of like a bad mood? Or if your baseline's low, would you feel like I don't want to bother anybody? Or
I feel like I lean more towards that kind of.
I think most people do because their baseline's low.
Anyone. Yeah, that's like what I would feel like in that situation. But I wouldn't want someone to do that.
Okay. What if one of your friends said, "Hey, I'm just feeling down. Can you come drag me out for a walk?"
Obviously, I would do that.
Okay, right? Yeah. Then why do you not take your own advice?
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, no, because I should like be my own friend. Like, what am I saying? That I hate myself?
No, you love yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but to answer that question, though, I really do think first you have to have an acceptance. And I think I love when we talk about this stuff, acceptance that I don't have to go out. Because if I'm like, man, I should go out. I know I should go out because I'm doing what's wrong with me. I'm beating myself up. But if I have an acceptance that, you know what, today I don't have to do anything, then I'm more likely to I'm then able to give myself a little bit of grace, which then I think actually bumps your baseline up a little bit. And maybe it bumps it up just enough but I think I'm going to go on a little walk and just kind of see where things go. And we do the whole all or nothing thinking. So now I just got to go out and I have to do all these things, but you literally can just go walk out to the mailbox and back, or, I mean, that sounded a little silly. Maybe that.
No, I think that's a good point though. Cause I did have a little period in my life where I was like totally self-isolating.
Okay.
And I feel like, yeah, like you can get in your head where you're like, especially with Instagram and like Snapchat and seeing like all your friends out and stuff, like you can get in your head and be like, why aren't I doing that? You know, like what's wrong with me? But if you don't want to be doing that in that moment, don't do it. Like that. And that's where I feel like we get like, so like, it's like I would have breakdowns where I'm like, why aren't I like going out and having fun? But like I wasn't even like taking care of myself in those moments. Like I wasn't like brushing my teeth in those moments. You know what I mean?
I know people do that.
And like showering and like taking care of myself. And then it's like when you start to just do the things that you want to do instead of what you think you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And you know, that starts with like the little self-care and then goes on to like bigger activities. Obviously, I feel like your life will be more like peaceful and nice.
I like that you're saying that, because that's I will hear people say things like they if they haven't gotten out, they will brush their teeth. Or a woman I'm working with now, she just said, I literally just put on makeup. I'm not even going out, but then I felt a little bit better.
I love to do that.
Do that?
I love to put on makeup to not even exit my room.
Okay.
So yeah, I get that.
Hey, okay, I want to get back here to, because Pietro, he gave me the roses. No offense. And then he's like, yeah, the roses are for me. But he said she skipped my police military question. And he said, as a cop and a veteran, I'd like to know why you skipped that one. I take criticism well, LOL. I think we were just kind of being a little bit playful there. But I would say that there is an observation and judgment there. I mean, because I work with a lot of first responders and cops and doctors and, you know, attorneys. And it's like there's
that's true.
Right. So I think there is a lot of assumptions made about what that person would be like.
Yeah, I did just do that.
Did you? Okay. Yeah.
So sorry for that.
Yeah. But I get that though. And I appreciate that he says he can take criticism well, because a lot of people cannot, you know? And I think we were talking about this on the last TikTok. As a marriage therapist, I have often had people that, like, cause I work with a lot of men because as a male therapist, and they maybe feel a little bit safer to come in and talk to a guy. But often I'll have somebody that, let's say a policeman who has had to, I actually was talking to a guy about this last week, where he has to turn off his emotions and kind of just go like just flat affect to deal with the stuff that he's dealing with, and then has to come home and then try to turn on those emotions. And so that's what we've been working on. And it's almost that same thing of like, how do you go out and do social things when you feel down? Because this guy's coming home and he's feeling like, I don't want to share how my day was to my wife, because I don't think she would handle that, because it's like, it wasn't great. And so then he's coming home, okay, now I got to like be in the moment and have to shift those roles really quick. So I even think sometimes people might hear a story like that, and then if a cop is on a dating app and they're like, oh man, I don't know if I can handle that, but they don't even know what that is. So that's a thought, you know? Yeah. Oh, okay. And now we both get a dozen roses. Thanks, Pietro. But I do think it's really interesting though. It's that assumptions or the observation and judgment, but then some of them are true. When somebody says to me, oh, you're a therapist. Oh, are you analyzing me right now? Absolutely. Yes. Can't turn that off. Or
isn't everyone doing that to everyone?
Yeah.
Like a little bit. Like, I mean, we're all.
What if somebody's like super self-conscious though? Maybe they're not analyzing you, but they're like, what do they think about me? Did I do that right? What, you know, like I'm sitting there saying like, like I'm sitting there saying, okay, that the body language right there. Or, you know, I mean, man, I was in a place not long ago, and I watched someone that did not know I was watching them just get in their kid's face and just like, that you could just see how mad they were. And I was like, oh my gosh, that breaks my heart, you know? Because then when I interact with the person later, like, hey, what's going on? You know, it's like, oh, you can't, you know. Anyway, so that I don't know. Would you judge somebody in that?
Wait, I forgot what we were talking about. What are we talking
about? Roses.
No, we're not.
Okay.
Don't confuse me more.
Let's see. Okay. Oh, Light of Grace said, without self-love, you can't accept healthy love. And I think, what do you think?
No, sorry. What was the question?
Well, without self-love, you can't accept healthy love. Like, do you agree?
Of course. Yeah.
But I think that's one of those. I was going to pull up the Ross Rosenberg self-love deficit disorder, because I think this is one where, because I get asked this a lot, where somebody says, what does it even mean to love yourself? Do you remember this thing?
No, something kind of clicked with me for this a little bit. Because, I feel like when I didn't have self-love, like that was when like it was so hard to leave a toxic relationship. And like, so like, and now thinking about it now, like that makes sense, because I needed the validation from them. So the second they weren't giving it to me, it was like, what am I doing wrong? What's wrong with me?
Exactly.
But then I did just have a situation with a guy, and like he ended up being a little, you know, a little emotionally immature.
Yeah.
And now that like I'm like more confident in myself, it was a lot easier to be like, oh wait, I actually just don't deserve that. So I'm gonna go find someone different, instead of it being like, oh wait, why don't you love me? What's wrong with me? Now it's like, oh wait, I'm cool. You figure that out. I'm gonna go. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I feel like that is definitely a thing.
And that's why I was even earlier when I was talking about the dating app stuff. If somebody back-to-back days, they just say, I'm gonna do this, but then I don't, you know, at that point, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's like, yeah, you want to give people the benefit of the doubt, and maybe they're having a rough day, or so I get that part. But at some point though, I think, and maybe it is because I watch people improve or get better. I watch people that are becoming more emotionally mature, or they're taking ownership of their stuff. And so then they are trying to become better versus, you know, if they have a consistent pattern of not responding, then what more data do you need? You know, like if you want someone that's going to interact with you, then they're not.
Don't give someone the benefit of the doubt who's not giving you anything at all.
Well,
you know,
good.
Like it's like if it's not being reciprocated, then you're just throwing your energy away at that point, and like you don't deserve that.
Okay, Sonia says, as a nurse, I totally diagnose medical issues on passersby. LOL. I love it. And this one, I want to be funny about this one, but Madison says, why were you watching those people? And they didn't know. And I want to say, because I was stalking them, but I wasn't. I was looking through my window because I was like adjusting a seat in a car. And so it's out of the back window, and they were literally right there. So, I mean, I feel like, I'm not going to like, I know I shouldn't have. I'm a human being. So I'm like, he's sitting there going like this.
I love people watching. So if you're having an argument in public, I am going to stand right next to you and listen to it. That's just great content.
It is. You know what's kind of funny? Okay, I love the ADHD vibes tonight, because I've got the self-love abundance pyramid over here, and I can't wait to get to this mindfulness and ADHD and the thing about therapy right there. And then we didn't maybe finish self-love, and
I have to pee.
You have to pee. Okay.
I'm just letting you know.
Do you want to go pee?
Yeah. Okay. Bye, guys.
Okay. Okay. So
Start
I will.
With the pyramid or something.
Okay, I will, because boring for Sid the pyramid. Okay, so there's a guy I've had on my Waking Up to Narcissism podcast called his name is Ross Rosenberg, and he wrote a book called The Human Magnet Syndrome, and he's trying to do some work around redefining the word codependency, and he's trying to redefine it as self-love deficit disorder. And so there's this pyramid, and man, I wish I could paste things, but it's at selfloverecovery.com, selfloverecovery.com. But he has this really neat looking pyramid where he talks about self-love deficit disorder is you have your childhood wounding and trauma, which the reality is most all of us have that. We can talk about that maybe when Sid comes back, although as her dad, of course, she had no childhood trauma. But then up from that is this core shame. It's this, I'm only as good as what I do or I don't do for others, that I'm a human doing. And so you can see that that's starting to set the stage for, I have to earn being loved. I need somebody else to tell me I'm okay in order for me to feel like they love me. Then that leads to he has this concept of pathological loneliness. So if I'm only as good as what I do or don't do, if I'm a human doing, not a human being, then I'll have these excruciating feelings of worthlessness and loneliness, which just makes me have this void, this loneliness feeling. So then how do you get rid of the loneliness feeling? You go to your drug of choice, your emotionally immature or narcissistic partner, and now you must get them to love you. You will try to do whatever it takes to get them to love you, but you've also put them in this one-up power position where now they have control. And so then he says at the top of this self-love deficit disorder is the selfless compulsive caretaker who habitually attempts to control others into loving them. And that control sounds kind of like a lot, but the control is just, I'm going to do whatever I can to get that person to love them. Okay, I made it up the pyramid, Sid.
Nice.
But and then the opposite of the self-love deficit disorder. So here's where we circle back around to the question of it was self-love. So then self-love abundance pyramid, which is the opposite of self-love deficit. And the core of this is healing your attachment trauma. And man, one of these days we'll talk about like childhood attachment wounds, and because we all have them.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you heal that? Because like people are always like, heal your inner child.
Yeah.
Like heal, like literally, like what like physical things can you do to heal that? You know what I mean?
Oh, for
you
sure.
can like address it in your head and be like, oh yeah, that wasn't cool.
Yeah.
But how do you like heal that?
So there's a lot of different theories on this too. There's a concept about somatic healing, which it has a lot to do with movement, because the belief is that you store trauma in the body. As a matter of fact, I have just was looking at something today. Let me read this, and I think we can even go from this, because I think this is so helpful. And
someone said I cry and dance about it.
Yeah, the cry and dance. I mean, and it is interesting when you can combine that movement with emotion. That's what like yoga is, things like that. It's just a advanced version of mindfulness in a sense.
I've heard that. I'm on like tarot card hippie side of TikTok right now, and they say that it's like you have to like release the energy.
Yeah.
But how?
So, and there's a couple.
Do you meditate first?
Well, there's a couple theories. One is that you release that energy, and I think we talked before that sometimes you're told to go punch a punching bag, to let go, release that energy. But there's some belief that what you're actually doing is telling your brain that the way to get rid of anger or emotion is to then make it even bigger emotion. But then if that's where you have to go because you're starting to take control of your own sense of self or your body, then go for it if you start from there. But and then this is a me thing, but then I feel like the more I meditate and the more I become able to calm my central nervous system and self-soothe, that then when I notice that I'm starting to get angry, my body's already going into that, like, let's kind of just breathe, let's lower our heart rate, let's get the cortisol out of our brain and tap back into the logical part and just realize, okay, that's just a thought, or that's that person's opinion. So there's a part of me that feels like is the goal to go from I have no control of my emotions to then I'm aware of my emotions and I probably need to let my emotions out. So maybe that is through hitting the punching bag or a really hard workout. And then eventually am I able to then express my emotions maybe with movement? And then eventually am I able to just kind of be?
And would you say that this is something that like happens over the course of multiple times? You know what I mean?
For sure, Sid.
I feel like it has to be an up and down thing, right? Because it's like you get abused as a child. There's no way you're having one night with a punching bag.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Healed.
No. And that's where it's like the different things. Well, let me read this. I think this was so good. This was somebody I'm working with, their spouse's therapist had sent this to them. They were talking about trauma, and they just said, trauma lives in the experience, not the event. When trauma occurs, it overwhelms the system and we're not able to process everything that happened. The primitive brain takes over, and if we're unable to fight or flee to escape the situation, we shut down to survive. Then once we're here, our nervous system makes it difficult to get out. We lose track of the details, making it challenging to recall what happened after the fact. The traumatic experiences get stored at a sensory, visceral, and nonverbal level in our implicit memory. That alone is deep. So
that's so interesting.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
So it's like your memory. So it's like when you can't experience something, your brain protects you. When you experience something traumatizing, your brain protects you and stores it in your brain.
Yeah.
But if you don't, does that mean that you then have to process it later in your life? Well, that would be healing,
yeah,
right?
That's healing. And these are great questions, because then sometimes people will come into me and they'll say, I need to process something from my childhood. And I'll say, oh, tell me about it. And usually it's like, well, I don't know. That's why I'm here. And then I'll even say, well, what brought you here? Why do you think you need to process it? And they'll say, I don't know. Somebody told me I haven't processed my grandpa's death. And then I'll say, okay. And this is the latest kind of controversy, a bit of controversy in the therapy world, is that I worry at times that early on in my therapy career, you want to be a really good therapist and you want to make sure you help everybody that comes into your office. So if they're coming in saying I need to process trauma, and if I'm saying, okay, all right, I got to help them process trauma, but I'm not really 100% sure even myself what to do. So then if they're saying, well, I do remember this, and then I want them to feel better about what they're talking about. So I'm going to tell them, okay, that must mean that there's more there. What else can you remember? They want validation from the therapist. So then they're kind of saying, well, maybe it's this. And then the therapist wants to make sure that they feel good. And hey, I think that could be a thing.
So then are you in that situation? Are you kind of like ripping a scab up that doesn't need to be ripped? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do. Some think about that. And it's so fascinating, because this is where I feel like, and I like what we were talking about here, your implicit memory again is what it feels like to be you. And no one knows what it feels like to be you but you. Mm-hmm. And I'm the only one that knows what it feels like to be me. So if I'm actually okay, but then I'm saying, I guess I need to process this, I almost say we start from that place of, okay, then with an acceptance that, okay, what does that look like? If I don't really know, but now I'm aware that it's coming up. I mean, I'm thinking about it. Now I'm just going to be more aware of it. And because you can't just all of a sudden just say, okay, like you say, one and done. I went to therapy. I processed this one event and I feel all better. So that ripping the scab off, or some people are saying, but what if I'm okay?
Exactly.
Yeah. And then there are some therapists that are like they specify their expertise is in trauma. And I'm not saying that's a negative thing, but where they're like, well, no, that if you aren't dealing with it or you aren't thinking about it, that's because it's a problem. Versus if you're looking in the world of acceptance and commitment therapy, I'm the only one that knows what it feels like to be me. Like being really very real. You know, my brother, who would have been your uncle, he died when I was 21. And I went years where I thought, man, I've never really dealt with that. But then even as I became a therapist, I thought, okay, what does that mean? Because I think I'm okay. You know, every now and again I'll get sad. I'll think about, oh, that would have been cool if he would have been here to see my kids get born or that sort of thing. And then it makes me feel like, oh, I wish I would know him. I wish he was around. But then I have a nice little peaceful feeling about it. And then, you know, so have I processed it? Or, you know, I guess I feel okay about it, you know, where then somebody else might say, okay, I feel bad and guilty that I don't think about him a lot. So then it's like, okay, well then what do we do with that?
Yeah. And then there's also the idea of like, what if you always say you don't know what you don't know? What if like you're okay? Like, what if it could be so much better than it is? Right?
There's a great point. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of it is probably, it's a very personal experience, clearly, right?
Yeah.
Like, no one can tell you when you need to dig something up from your past.
Yeah, that's good.
Only you can.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That one's weird to me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes, if your trauma like isn't manifesting in your life as like very apparent things that you need to fix, then should you not? Is it harmful to you to dig in the, you know?
Yeah. Ultimately, I don't think so.
Probably not.
But
probably never, right?
I mean,
process.
Yeah, I haven't had an experience where it has left somebody. I mean, it can leave somebody feeling raw. And you'll often say, when I think even in my paperwork, my intake paperwork, it says there are things that might feel more difficult before they get better because you're unearthing things. You know, sometimes it's like I didn't even know that, because I'll give you an example. A lot of people come into me and they feel like they're the problem in their relationship. And they're not, because they're the ones that are coming into me to try to figure out their relationship. And their partner is saying, yeah, you go figure it. I'm fine. And so then they're like, man, I keep trying. And so I must be doing something wrong. But then at some point they go, oh, wait a minute. I'm actually the one trying. And my partner is the one that's telling me that I'm bad for trying. I don't talk about our relationship to somebody else. You know, don't worry about things. So it's like, wait, that's control, you know? And so then all of a sudden that's where they can start to feel like, oh gosh, I did not come in here expecting that. Yeah. Okay. What was the book that I was talking about?
Book? ADHD 2.0.
That's a good one.
What's that book by Ross
The Body Keeps the Score. Oh yeah, Human Magnet Syndrome. Look at you. You were in the bathroom when you did that.
Yeah.
Was that like a part of the quantum consciousness? Did you just know? That's impressive.
Our chairs are fighting.
That was the chair. Was that the chair? Okay. Plant Mom Games. My husband and both kids and myself all have ADHD. It's a great time.
Oh, that's fun.
That's so good. I mean, it is a good time, except for when it's not. I mean, actually, I'm good with it. You know, what do you think about yours?
I'm fine with it, I guess. I've been procrastinating a lot. I can't do this chair, right? You guys are all going to think I'm disgusting.
Okay.
I've been procrastinating a lot, and that part is hard for me. And it also just might be me and not even the ADHD. But...
Well, okay, so again, I think the procrastination thing, and I've talked about this, I think on say one of the TikToks that you produce, which I appreciate. I have a theory that, okay, so procrastination is that dopamine dump at the end. And so I know that it is that dopamine dump at the end, but I'm not even getting that dopamine dump at the end anymore, because I am, but I'm so like anxious
when I'm doing, because I
like
hate
what's
being
something that you
pressed
haven't
for time, you know.
Oh,
so we're moving right now, and I have not moved one muscle of my body.
I may have noticed that.
Moving out of our house, by the way.
Yeah, but okay, with that said though, every time, like when we were having the house showings and you had to clean up your room really well and then be out of the house by a certain time, you did it.
The day of.
That's it though. That's like, that's the dopamine dump of procrastination though.
I hate that though.
Okay, so you teed me up. So here's my theory, and it is unscientific and unsupported, and it's anecdotal, and I think I'm right. So I want you to poke holes in it. So are
most of my everything in my life.
So I have a strong belief that, because there are certain people that they do things before the deadline. First of all, like your mom, if she has to like give a talk, you know, at church or something, and it's due on like Sunday, and she gets it assigned 2 weeks before, guess when she starts?
Literally right when she gets it, and she makes a list. She makes a list with a little chart and highlighters about like all the topics she needs to do. Oh, she's so good at that. And then she's like, "Oh, can I practice it ahead of time?"
Like she says that stuff. If I have to do it, and I'm not trying to just be, "Oh, I'm so funny," but that Sunday morning, I gave a talk at a worldwide mental health conference in Salt Lake. We flew out there on somebody else's dime. I got moms there. We're at this nice hotel. I'm talking about spiritual abuse, navigating faith crisis and mental health. It's like, I was one of the coolest things I got to do. 5,000 therapists all over the world. And I was working on it in the hotel lobby. I started about an hour and a half before the presentation, you know? And the whole time I'm like, I'm going to work on this one. I'm going to take this one serious. I'm going to, it's on YouTube, and I highly recommend it. And I was like, I loved it because in that moment. So my theory there is that the acceptance that if you are a procrastinator, you can't tell yourself, I'm going to pretend the due date is a week ahead, because you're like, I'm not falling for that one. What am I, dumb? You know, with myself. So if I accept the fact that, oh, I'll be preparing this 2 hours before, then, because I wasted a lot of emotional calories and time the days leading up, where I would sit down and I'm like, man, I just need to really start preparing for this. But I just didn't. I would get distracted, and I would look stuff up on the internet, or probably watch a video, and
I start cleaning things. Like I hate cleaning. Yeah, like cleaning my whole entire workspace, so it's like so tidy. Yeah. Like why?
No, well, it's experiential avoidance. It's because I don't want to do that thing that I think I'm supposed to do. So I believe that if you accept the fact that I'm probably gonna start this 2 hours before, then those days leading up to it, I'm not wasting time and beating myself up. I'm just doing things that raise my emotional baseline. So by the time I hit the 2 hours before, I'm ready. Like, it's go time. But then you have to accept the fact that there are times, because I speak a lot, there are times where every now and again, not the greatest talk, you know, but most of them are good. So then I just have to accept that if I don't have one that goes well, who am I fooling if I tell myself, you know, next time I'm going to prepare earlier? No, I'm not.
Yeah.
You know,
I need to do that.
So I'm living off of the dopamine dump of procrastination. Yeah. Your thoughts?
I'm trying to think of how I missed my dentist appointment.
Okay.
Morning.
That's
literally throw me out the window.
So how many times
run me over with
that's
your
my
car.
That's my friend, Dr. Redford.
I'm so sorry, Dr. Redford.
So how many times have you missed that one?
Like so many times. And I tried to do the thing, like maybe 3 times. And I tried to do the thing that you said, where like have someone wake you up. Like literally Mom woke me up, and I got in an argument with her in like my half slumber state at like 8 a.m. And I feel so bad about it now, obviously.
You weren't in your right mind. Were you a little bit rummy in the morning?
Rummy?
That just means like foggy brained.
Yeah. And I'm literally just laughing because I kind of feel bad, but
I'm too, because I've seen you in that one where it's like, if you look sorry, like Mom. You're like, what, you know, right?
Like beautiful sleeping beauty.
Oh, that's what I meant. Yes, that is what I meant.
No, I know now that I need to really try to schedule things for later, and I need to sleep before, because if I don't sleep before, bad things happen. Okay.
Can I ask you, do you honestly care truthfully about going to the dentist?
No.
Or the DMV?
No.
Okay. So that's a big part of it though. I mean, that I think that the acceptance of, because then it becomes one of those socially compliant goals. I guess I'm supposed to do this.
I'm doing it because you want me to do it. But in this case, I think that this is a socially compliant goal that I need to do.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just life.
Plant mom games. This is stuff I like. Speaking of teeth, Colgate Wisps are life-changing if you have ADHD and struggle with brushing.
Or those the little ones that you put in your purse. like you can like carry like take them to go. Those are super good.
It's funny because I was actually just trading texts with a former client who needed some help with something, and I remember we had a conversation where, and I like saying this thing where, as an adult human being, I have I have 2 toothbrushes here and toothpaste, and you can have it in your car. You can have wisps. You can carry extra deodorant. You can do whatever you want, because a lot of times people will forget and then they beat themselves up, and it's like, well, there's a way around that. Then get another toothbrush or plant them everywhere. Or it's okay. It's an acceptance. It's not the, man, why can't I remember? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep them in my car.
I've been going with the acceptance part a lot, because it's really easy to just be like, why am I so dumb?
Thanks,
and like,
Adam.
that's where I always go. Like because I know it's just ADHD, but like when you literally lose every single object that you need, it's not even that I lose it. I've never known where it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not even a loss if it's like,
there's no place for it. And it's like, it's very easy to just be like really beat myself up about that. But that just makes it take me longer to find whatever I can't find. You know what I mean?
Well, can I bring some gentle awareness to you as my daughter?
Yes.
This is what's fun. I kind of already forgot what I was going to bring gentle awareness to. But it was going to be, it was the acceptance. So if you really don't care about the dentist, would you ever tell us that?
I just told you that.
Right. But you've already like missed it 3 times. Like if we were saying, hey, we set up a dentist appointment, if you just said, it's like, I actually probably will not be going to that dentist appointment.
Okay, but I don't want to, but I know that I need to. I don't want to have nasty teeth.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for this privilege of the dentist.
Okay. So then and where I was kind of going with that too, and I don't want you to ever feel bad, but it's the, if I'm like,
no,
hey,
make me feel bad.
But I know I can't. No, I don't think that's the, if being bad, if feeling bad about yourself was like the solution, we would all be perfect, because we beat ourselves up all the time. You know?
That's true.
Yeah. So that one, I know that one doesn't work. I think that one's the, that is the enemy. That is the, that's why I always say it's a, man, check this out. I missed the dentist 3 times. Like that's a thing.
You know what did help me get to the DMV?
What?
My friend slept over the night before.
So that's where I was going, Sid.
And she went with me. And that was like, at that point, it was like Disneyland, you know?
Yeah, we're having a great time.
But
that, Sid, where I was going to go?
With everything.
Why?
Because I can't have my friend hold my hand through my whole life.
Why?
Because she has to do things in her life too.
You can do them together.
But our schedules don't always go together.
See, these are all the yeah buts.
But they're true.
But then we could say, hey, when are you available to take me to the dentist the next time? I mean, but here's this bigger thing where we talk about acceptance, is that acceptance doesn't mean apathy. And it doesn't mean that now for the rest of my life, I'll always have to have, hey, Hannah, go to the dentist. But
that's true.
It means that if I accept, honestly, this is that thing where if I accept the fact that is what I'm going to probably have to do, there's a much more likely chance that it's like, I'm okay.
Mm-hmm. And that is where, like, I feel like a lot of times I just like look at life too wide, like too big, it's like, I don't have to be worrying about how am I going to get there every single time.
Yeah. If you're like, I don't want to have to for the rest of my life. It's like, we're talking about Tuesday.
Yeah, totally. So if you just like worry about what you're doing in the moment, then it's fine. But who knows? I might have no teeth by a couple years. And
then you'll accept that, and you'll buy very soft things to, so I was thinking about gum. Okay, here we go. Okay. Plant Mom goes, I don't like to be told what to do. It's definitely the ADHD. My dopamine is rebelling. Yes. And yes. And that's so right. That's our rejection sensitive dysphoria.
Yeah. And that's even more annoying. Sorry.
Adam, thanks for doing these lives weekly. I look forward to these. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Adam. That's even more annoying when it's something that you want to do, but you're being told.
Oh yeah.
Because then it's like, then you're just beating yourself up even more.
That's like our immaturity 101, is when we know something would be good for us, but if somebody's telling us, then we're like, I will not be doing that.
That happens to me a lot. I feel like,
yeah.
Or like last week or last time we talked, you were talking about something. You said like first and secondary emotions.
Yeah,
like
primary and secondary emotions.
I noticed that a lot. I do when I get like embarrassed about something, I feel like I get angry.
Yeah.
About it.
So for those that didn't catch the last one, that's your secondary emotion. So when your embarrassment will be your primary emotion, if you can learn to sit with the embarrassment and realize it's okay to be embarrassed.
Yeah, I feel like I had a better way to tie that into what we were talking about, but I forgot.
No, it's good though, because then that anger comes out as secondary emotion to get rid of the feeling of embarrassment. And that one is now that you're aware of it. And I like that you said you noticed it a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just so annoying though in that moment when like I feel so like angry, but I know that I'm in the wrong, but you can't like get over that anger because it's so real.
Yeah.
Like what would your tip be for that? Like, I mean, is that when it's okay to like punch a pillow really quick?
Well, it is, or if you can, as you are noticing that you are starting to get angry and you can take that anger and walk away, that's the one where it's like you're on the way to that amygdala hijack. That if you start getting angry and your heart rate starts elevating, you're going to hit that point where you can't tap into that logical part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex. So when you notice it, that's where it takes you gotta have the courage to then walk away. And then that's really difficult because if not, once you hit that amygdala hijack, buckle up. And then just when you're done, just be willing to like self-confront or own up to, yeah, my bad. Because I think that's the part where somebody doesn't want to be wrong. So then they would say, well, if you wouldn't have done this, I would have never,
Why do humans why don't they want to be wrong? Like, why is that a thing where like people are so, is like a ego?
Yeah, ego defense. Thing? And then if you really my opinion is like you go back to the point where if we feel like we're going to get booted out of the tribe, then we're going to be left alone in the dreary world and we're going to get attacked by grizzly bears and die. So if we are wrong, or like primitive brain says that then we're of no use and we're going to get booted out, So we have this like tribal desire, or we want to belong to a group or a family. And so if I'm always right, or it wasn't my fault, then nobody's going to kick me out of the tribe.
Isn't it weird? Wouldn't our instincts be like, no, I have to learn and be right, or else my tribe will think I'm dumb and kick me out?
That would be the emotionally mature tribe.
Okay.
But then, now I could get like a little bit in my head. This is funny, where unfortunately a lot of times the people that become leaders of the tribe are the ones that lack empathy, and so then they are
we
never
can talk about that.
I was gonna say, so they don't take ownership of things. Yeah. It wasn't their fault. They are not going to stay on topic, and so then if they're modeling that behavior. Exactly. Yeah. So the person that rewarded. Says my bad, then they're not like everybody's going, yay, yeah. So that's like, that one's tough. Okay. Pietro, I finally quit smoking after 4 years of procrastinating. Just finished 1 week with no tobacco.
Ooh, congrats.
Yeah. And then, okay. Pietro's our guide, and I lost all my teeth by 28. I have fake teeth. Trust me, take care of your teeth.
Stop. Okay, fine. I'll go to the dentist. Okay. I'll go to the dentist. I do want to hear like more about your quitting smoking journey though, because I'm like on Zins right now. Dude, apparently they want to ban Zins. I'm trying to quit vaping.
Mm-hmm. You have quit vaping?
Yeah, I have. And
what's the ban on Zins?
I don't know. They want to ban them.
Who is they?
I don't know.
The man?
Whoever does that kind of stuff. I'll be so annoyed if they do that.
Okay. I want to Google it now all of a sudden. Like, what's that? I wonder what here we go. No, it's the time where I get to do a puzzle piece, or else our live ends. Here we go.
I have no good tips for quitting smoking right now, though. But, oh my gosh. But honestly, it's like.
Oh, made it.
It just gets so much easier the longer you go.
It does, right? Do you feel like this is that concept where I think we talked when you were initially doing it, after 72 hours, a lot of things have happened in your body, like the physiological things, but do you still feel like there's any psychological cravings or?
Well, that's the thing, is I don't know if my body's gone through those because I'm still putting nicotine into it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because of the Zins.
Yes.
But it's a lot less, and I can feel that.
Okay. But is it like the part where I know a lot of times smokers, they go out for a smoke break. So then their relational frame theory brain associates like, I get to go outside and there are other smokers there, and then we connect. And so then it's like when they quit smoking, they almost miss that routine or that ritual. Mm-hmm. Is there anything like that with vaping?
Yeah, no, I mean, the problem with vaping is it's so easy. You don't have to go outside and you don't have to be with your friends. You just do it.
Yes.
But well, go ahead. What was
No, I feel like I don't, but that's my friend Kylie, approaching 1 year alcohol free. Kylie, I want her to come on here sometime. Kylie, go follow Kylie on TikTok.
That's super impressive.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. Okay. That's really cool. We got to cut it. Okay. London Calling. A new study came out today on vaping. Vaping changes your DNA, just like ciggies. Wow.
What did it do to me? What does that mean?
I could understand. And I'm guessing this, and we could look it up, and maybe we can cover that at some point. But I had my my friend who is getting his doctorate in epigenetics that I talked to earlier today, and we were talking again about the things you smell, the things you inhale, the things that you interact with affect your epigenes, the genetic, how your genes express themselves. And that's that concept of where if you have a genetic predisposition for anxiety, but you live by the beach and you eat waffles all day and you've got a really cool dog, then your genes aren't going to express with, you know, as
so maybe vaping could, I wonder like what kind of stuff it could change. Like maybe it could cause anxiety in someone who wasn't like wouldn't have had as much anxiety or like something like that. I could see that. Yeah.
Okay, Yvonne Christina, am I taking new patients? Kylie, best therapist ever. Let's go, Kylie. If I do this, does that do the heart on here? Does not. Oh no, Pedro. Oh, Pedro, giving us, what are those? Bowls.
Are you taking new patients?
Oh yes. So kind of ish. I put out on my newsletter, and go sign up for my newsletter. Although I literally, my web guy, I cut over to a new website, and I think it's broken because right before we went on today, TonyOverbay.com, supposed to be a real cool upgrade.
It's broken because so many people are visiting it.
Well, okay, so but sign up for my. Here we go. Oh, it's the old website. I look like a young Voldemort. It was me going down.
Very websitey website.
I know. I haven't.
Great here.
I don't remember. I haven't been on my website in a long time. See this? That's got to go. You know what's funny? If you go to, and then I will talk about, am I taking new patients? This is the top secret where the people are working on my new website. If I go to TonyOverbay.org,
it's already
look at that.
Hour. That's crazy.
Okay. If you go to TonyOverbay.org, that's the new website. Look at that.
There he is.
Yeah. I don't think it's complete yet. Does that look like very professional?
Mm-hmm.
That was my, hey, pose and look serious thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But am I? So kind of. And the reason I say that is I've been very blessed with a very busy practice, thanks to the Waking Up to Narcissism podcast, the Virtual Couch podcast, Love ADHD podcast, Murder on the Couch, these lives. I've got a magnetic marriage course, a parenting course, an addiction recovery course. And so I love everything I do. And so I usually have a wait list but I'm starting to transition more to almost all virtual-ish clients. So I did put out my newsletter. That's where we went with that. That I'm open. I'm taking a look at, if people want to work with me, please email me at contact@tonyoverbay.com. Maybe tell me a little bit more about what you have going on.
We're also going to start doing like video answers
to
questions.
Yeah.
I think you can do that through TikTok.
Yeah, you can. And so we're going to do that. And then also, honestly, unfortunately there is a cost to the therapy. And I know that I cost money. So if you subscribe to us, which is, I think it's $3.99, I'm actually going to answer questions for you, because then we want you to then ask us your questions, and we'll send you personal video responses. And I will not just try to be hilarious and fun. I'm a real therapist, and we'll try to answer those questions.
Oh, last ad, don't leave.
Last ad.
I'll put on, you guys should follow his Instagram, because I started posting reels on it, and I could put like a poll up there that's like, or I could put one of those question things that's like topics for the live, and then we could rate off of those.
Okay, so my Instagram is at TonyOverbay_LMFT for licensed marriage family therapist. I was gonna say something funny, but I couldn't think of anything. Okay, advice for, okay, man, there was a couple other things. Let's see. Severe executive function. Okay, let me do a couple of these, because we've already gone over an hour. We didn't do a Reddit. Do you want to get a Reddit story?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me answer Adam's any tips for your positive parenting method with your children when the other parent is overcritical? That is a very good question, man. Because let me first of all say, Adam, I bless your heart, because I do want parents to be on the same page, and oftentimes it's almost a kid's job to triangulate and say, well, dad said I could, and then goes to mom, and then mom's like, he did, okay, and then you find out later that, well, he really didn't. I mean, that's like kind of a kid's job. So I do want the parents to have a united front, but that's why I always like frameworks, and I'm a big fan of this. It's called the Nurtured Heart approach. And it's a parenting technique that's used in school districts, and it's basically three stands. The first one is you never react to the button pushing. So if your kid is trying to tell you you're a bad dad and curfews are dumb and I don't want to do things like that, then hypothetically,
you're dumb. Sorry, I thought you were going to tell me to do it.
No, I was not.
You said hypothetically.
Yeah. No, I was trying to kind of jokingly say, not that you've ever done any of these things. Curfews are dumb. Nobody else has curfews. All that stuff. Right? Do you remember some of those chestnuts? Yeah. So that's where if the parent all of a sudden's like, oh, really? Nobody has, let me, you know, now all of a sudden you win because now I'm mad. So the first stand of the nurture heart approach is you hide your buttons. And so once they're done telling me how dumb I am, then you give positive, you build inner wealth, and not just saying, good job, champ. But it's like, man, Sid, I love the way that you can calm yourself down right after you felt you were really emotionally, whatever. And then you're gonna be like, really, old man? Like, that's it. And then I go back to stand one. I don't react. And then when you're done, I'm like, see, I love that. You can really get yourself back to this good place. And then so here's the thing. Parents cannot be the punisher and the rewarder. It's the trauma bond we talked about.
Oh.
And this one hit me unfortunately, like after you guys were all grown up, where it's like the parent says, you can come to me with anything, champ. But then if you say, I wrecked the car or I smoking drugs, you know, then the parent's like, what? I cannot believe that. So what's the kid going to do now? Oh, okay.
Do it behind their back.
Yeah. So I cannot come to you now. Yeah. So that's a me thing. So then the nurtured heart approach says, okay, my job is to build inner wealth, to not react when they try to push my buttons, because kids get their sense of self from external validation. So if they get their sense of self because I get mad and upset and tell them they're a bad kid, then that's what they start to get their sense of self from. Oh, I'm a bad kid.
So is your theory, so you can't be the punisher and the rewarder. Mm-hmm. So do you just always reward?
Well, so that makes it sound like then they're always they'll never get in trouble or nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
But what the key is in the nurtured heart approach is that you get with your kid, and then when you set the stage well, you get the smell of brownies in the air, whatever it is, and then you say, hey, let's I love when we can all sit down together and let's talk about maybe rules of the home. And what do you think the consequence should be if you talk back to your mom and dad? And then a lot of times the kids are really they go bigger than the parent. So when you do this from a training standpoint, often the kid will say, grounded for a week, or something. And then you even get to say, man, I love the way that you come up with those consequences.
Would the kid really go bigger though?
Well, I will say
I wouldn't go bigger.
Well, and I hear you. But a lot of times though, here's why. Here's what you'll stick with me on this one. So the goal of the nurtured heart approach, when you really implement it, is you want the kid in the game, so to speak, because then you're giving them more opportunity to build that inner wealth, or to really help guide them toward more positive parenting behavior. So then if they say, let's just say they say, okay, you're grounded for a day, whatever the kid says, you're going to say, man, I love where you're going with that. What if it was just like a couple hours, And then they're like, yeah. And then you're like, man, I love those consequences. So now you post the consequences. You aren't the one that came up with them. They did.
You're involving them in the politics, basically.
But what's cool about it is then when they talk back to the parent, now you're not the punisher. You're like, oh man, I'm so bummed that you talk back to your mom, because I was really looking forward to doing whatever with you. I guess that almost feels like, let me guilt you. But then I can't wait till you're back in the game. And then the kid's like, wait, aren't you gonna yell at me for it? And then now the parent's not yelling. Anyway, and here's the thing, if you email me, anybody that's listening right now, contact at Tony Overbay. During the beginning of the pandemic, I did a free parenting course that talks about this. It's about an hour long, and I've got it hidden on my YouTube channel. And if you email me and say, give me the parenting course, then I'll just send you the link for free. So I think let's do create better parents, right? That was also when I went on that TV show, and then they talked about Elmo's dad right before I went on.
I love that clip.
Super quick. I'm going to change the world. I create this free parenting course right when the pandemic hit. And then I put this press release out and I say, hey, I want people to have a free parenting course because we're about to get locked up in homes and parents are going to lose their minds. So I love this station locally, this Channel 31, Good Day Sacramento. They reach out and they say, let's have you on. And then I was here in my office, and it's all virtual, and I'm sitting there, and you can watch what's going on in the news there. And then the producer comes on, and he's like, okay, you're not this segment or the next one, but the one after that. So this one's, I forget what it's about. And then the segment before mine comes on, and they're like talking to Elmo's dad about, I don't know, whatever Elmo's dad talks about, being like a animal dad. I don't know.
How do we know his dad?
Oh, and so then all of a sudden I'm just like, oh my gosh, I did not know Elmo had a dad. And then all of a sudden I thought, you've got, I think I had 2 minutes and 30 seconds of airtime to try to help the world with their parenting. And I'm like, don't talk about Elmo's dad. Do not talk about Elmo's dad. And then you put the clip up on, please go find it on TikTok. And so then it cuts to the anchors like, hey, we've got a marriage family therapist, Tony Overbay, who's trying to help everybody become better parents. And it cuts over, hey, Tony. I'm like, who knew Elmo had a dad? And then I go for an hour. I go for a minute and a half on Elmo's dad. And then I have 15 seconds to say, parenting, like take my course. Yeah. So where are we going with that? Positive parent. Oh, we missed the whole part with Adam. So if the other parent is overcritical though, and you cannot get them on the same page, that's why I like a framework, because if you're saying, I think we need to be on the same page, can we look at, there's a love and logic, there's a, nurtured heart approach, any of those things. If the other parent is not on board with looking at something like that, honestly, that's a problem. And here's the part that I think is difficult. I want the parents on the same page, but if your spouse's idea is, I think they need to be yelled at more. And I'm not even joking. Like I've got a situation recently where one of the parents does say, I'm sorry, but that's just a bunch of fluff. Like they need to know that they're doing it bad, And so that scenario though, I don't want you to play small and then acquiesce and say, okay, well, I guess I have to do that. And unfortunately, first of all, please, if you can get into therapy and try to do some couples therapy around that, that would be ideal. But honestly, you're a little kid, sense of self from that external validation. So if you have to go against what your spouse is saying, then if you feel like that's the right thing to do, then that is what is best to do. Now, what's interesting right now is that if the parent's the one that says, yeah, I think the right thing to do is yell at my kids more, they could say the same thing. And that's unfortunate, but you're right. If you're the one that's saying, I need to show them more love and compassion, because we talked before, when a parent gets angry at the kid, that's a parent thing,
Yeah. And I feel like that's hard though, because you talk like about how you're supposed to like compromise, I guess, in a relationship or whatever.
Yeah.
But that would be really hard to compromise when it's like your child's well-being.
For sure. Yeah.
So,
and especially parents will often, they've had different experiences probably in their own childhood. And I've had the parents have said, hey, my parents were rough with me and I turned out fine.
Okay. But like Dahmer's parents were nice to him and he was a serial killer.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's like that isn't.
Well, and that's the part where I will often and that one, this is where I've been doing this for 20 years. And so I get to play that almost like grumpy old man therapist, where then it's like, okay, hey, tell me about your relationship with your parents, to the person that said that. And like, we don't talk a lot, but I'm saying, okay, so yeah, is that the result then? So if you want to then feel like you did the right thing by trying to tell them what they did is wrong so that you can then down the road not have a relationship with them, then we know how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Choose your pick.
Yeah.
Your friends here.
Oh, I saw. Oh, Allie and Mitch.
Oh, I met
too cool. And I saw, Aiden Falls is here. Like, this is all this stuff.
Tony's besties are here.
I know. This is where one of these days I want to be able to like invite everybody in together, get the gang all here, throw everybody up on the screen at one time.
All here.
Right. And Allie has to come on and talk about midwifery. I said it right, Allie. It's midwife. Did you know that?
No.
It is. Adam, thanks for explaining that. Love y'all. Adam, we love you too. Let's see. Let's go to, we got the parent. Do you have any advice for, JD, do you have any advice for somebody wanting to switch therapists? Sid?
Do it.
For real. And JD, it's a really good question. And I think if somebody hasn't been to therapy, then they're probably just saying that, like, we'll just do it. But
me haven't been to therapy.
But it's so fascinating though, because a lot of those therapists are emotionally immature. And so I know that there are therapists that take it the wrong way. And then they will even say sometimes, well, if you are wanting to leave therapy, that means that we're hitting on something that matters. But actually, you're the one that is ultimately in charge of what therapy is, even if you don't know what that's like. And the relationship you have with your therapist is it's so much more important than the modality the therapist uses, or you have to have a relationship of trust with the therapist if you're going to even come close to opening up. So as a therapist, one of the first things I do when you meet with a new client is say, if you don't feel a connection, let me know. Like, that's okay. Because somebody taking the steps to go to therapy, they're on the path. So then I need to then say, I'm grateful that I have played a role in that. And if you don't like my style, then let's refer you to somebody that is. Yeah. Allie, it seems so hard to restart with a therapist. Man, that one's so real too, because I hear people often say, I don't want to have to start over. I don't have to tell my story all over again. And I get that part too. And it's interesting because sometimes I do think the more that we're letting the stigma down on mental health is a bad thing, that it's okay to work on your mental health. I almost feel like there's going to be a day where you almost have your therapist is on retainer, or you've got your family therapist, or you've got the therapist that you've been with for a long time. And it doesn't mean that you have to see them every single week, but you just know that this person's there when you need somebody. And I've got a lot of people that I go from maybe seeing them weekly for a bit to every other week to then maybe monthly. And then you're just kind of there if they need a check-in, and they know, they understand. So I really like that.
Yeah. And don't be scared to like try someone new, because like a new perspective on anything is good, you know?
Yeah.
Do you think that sometimes narcissists become therapists because they think that they know the answer to everyone's problems?
You're not like thinking of anybody in particular, right?
No. Actually, maybe, but not you.
I do actually find the amount of emotionally immature people that end up in therapy is quite high.
As therapists?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really wild.
You have to be careful, like dodge those guys for sure.
And it's so funny because the whole therapy, what's the stereotype is that you're becoming a therapist to fix your own stuff. And I was not, except for then 10 years in, I realized, 100% I am. And I'm grateful, because that I can't even imagine what I would have been like had I not done that.
Yeah, true. Thanks for doing that.
You didn't have to like be all excited about that. You could have been like, really? No, that's fine.
We can do a Reddit soon.
Let's do it.
Once you're done.
No, let's do it. Oh, that's Lena? That's not Arlena, is it?
No, she spells it different.
Okay. Can you talk about ways to not seek male validation and learn how to validate yourself? First of all, well done with asking the question. It goes back to that. A lot of times people aren't even aware that they're doing that. So once you are aware, now it's okay, buckle up, get ready, because it's going to be a little bit difficult, because now that you're aware that you're doing it, then the next thing is that people typically then beat themselves up for it. Like, man, why am I doing this? Like, I know I shouldn't, or what's wrong with me? And first of all, just accept that that's what we do. We seek validation from others until we don't, it kind of put simply. And so then when you notice that you are, what is it that you're wanting the validation for? Let's say that you got dressed up and you feel like you look good. First of all, I love that. If you can then say, no, I do look good. So now if I say, hey, do you think I look good? I just handed that power over to somebody else. And that's where it can be difficult, because now I'm basing my self-esteem on if they say the right answer. And then they might say, yeah, no, I think so. Then now you're even, judging their tone or their intonation. And, what do you think?
I feel like a lot of times, like, and this isn't to say every guy, but a lot of times, like, male validation, or if you're a guy and you're seeking female validation, it's temporary and it's
for sure
unfulfilling, and it's
preach it,
productive. Like, it really doesn't do anything for you. And I feel like we're just so used to, like, especially like as girls, not everyone, but me personally, like, we're so used to thinking that we need that to feel okay and to feel accepted. Yeah. But when, like I said, like, when you're just getting it from random guys, it's not fulfilling. When you give it to yourself, it's so fulfilling, and it lasts forever. Yeah. And it's always there for you, and you don't have to ask for it. You don't have to beg for it. You're just always constantly giving it to yourself. Yeah. And like that, the difference is like so crazy.
Yeah. And I think that's one of those that people don't even know what that feels like until you get there.
Yeah, totally.
So right now, if somebody's like, okay, whatever, but I think that's really dope, because now that's that part where now when you show up in a relationship, you are not doing it to seek validation. You are saying, I am a good person. I am a fun person. And so now I want to have a shared experience with another person. Mm-hmm. And that's that thing where you've already chosen yourself. And now I am saying, I'm choosing you if you want to join me. And if they're like, I don't know, immediately it's hit the bricks. Like, I'm not going to beg you. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah. Right.
And if you like, I feel like if you don't really like know who you are, because like maybe I like when I used to be with this one guy, I would like kind of pretend to like the things that he like, not pretend, but I would be like, oh, this is my new hobby now. Because I wanted him to like me. So I'd be like, I'm into this now.
Can you remember any of those things that you were?
I can't really think specifically.
Okay, so
I could if I really did, but then I feel like you're just kind of like unhappy a lot of the time, because the things that you're doing aren't even fulfilling for you. They're fulfilling for somebody else.
Yep.
So just like go try to like find the things that make you happy and like make you feel fulfilled, and spend more time with yourself, and then I feel like your confidence will grow.
Yeah. And then I like that because that goes back to that. If I'm operating from a place where I feel confident, then I can go try something new, but of course I'm not going to be good at it, or I don't know a lot about it. And I like where you're going with this, Sid, because then there's little subtle things about being more secure in yourself. And I saw Aiden Falls asked about anxious attachment, and that, boy, we can talk about that. I am a recovering anxiously attached person, because I was going to say a secure attachment is I don't need validation. I'm not avoidant. I'm not afraid to show up, but I'm also not overly anxious and clingy, needing that person to tell me I'm okay. And if they aren't telling me I'm okay every 5 minutes, I'm not like, are you okay? Like, are things cool? Mm-hmm. And so that secure attachment is I am okay. And so now if I want to then say I want to hang out with that person and they like doing something I don't know about, now I'm going in there and I don't have to know anything about it. Like, I don't have to go like, oh yeah, I like that too, because I want them to like me. I like myself. So if they don't like me because I don't know what it is they're doing, that's a them issue. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in the anxious attachment, oh, okay. So send me a message. I will find that, because the anxious attachment turns out that we're a lot, those with anxious attachment, because we are like, look at me. I almost think about like little kids that were like, mom, 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 you know, and you look over and they're like, let's do something, you know, and then mom goes back to her thing.
I hate kids.
You love them.
No, I
don't. With Allie as my witness. You played with her kid.
I do like.
I have a video of you saying coochie coo. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, how do I post things on my own?
I found, okay, listen, if I'm in a public situation and I don't want to talk to adults, then I talk to the babies, because it's like petting a dog.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You thought, so you're saying Allie's baby was, or little girl was like a dog?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, see, Allie said you're the child whisperer. And I like, what did she just say? Allie said something smart right there. She said, I think it's cooler to just be interested in why somebody likes something, because I think that is where the curiosity, I'm going to use the word curiosity in an hour and a half tonight. That is so important. It's, yeah, if you are curious about somebody's experience, that's a more mature view, because it's saying, oh, I obviously don't know what I don't know. So tell me about it. And if they say you don't know about it, again, hit the bricks. You know, I love when.
What does hit the bricks mean?
Is that an old one? Yeah. And look, there's bricks on the back. It means take off. Like I'm not going to spend any time here. I think it was said back in the 1930s when I was a kid. Hit the bricks. See, that's what I would say.
Hit the bricks, little boy.
Yeah. Let's do it one Reddit, and then you gotta like pack to move.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to do a cheating one? Do you want to do
like cheating in a board game?
No. Do you want to do ending an 8-year relationship? What are you thinking?
First of all,
pick one.
What I'm going to say, let's do a speed round, and then just say, Wendy, you've done an amazing job on the questions tonight, and we're going to do a Reddit, and then we're going to tap out, right? Because I was going to say, Mila or Mila, I love your daughter's hair.
Thanks. Do you like his?
Okay. Like is that all you got?
No, I got plenty.
Okay, I didn't know. Good. And then there's several others I apologize we didn't get to tonight, and come to our next live, and then or subscribe and then answer this question again. Or I think because we're gonna have a little break for a while, right? I'm gonna try to talk Mackie into doing a live with me.
Yeah, but we'll still have like new episodes going up.
We have tons of content.
A bunch that are stocked up, and we talk about good stuff in them. So you guys should subscribe to the YouTube for that.
Maybe what I'll do is maybe I can do a podcast episode where I'll just answer. I've got a lot of questions on here that we didn't get to, of dismantling shame that's buried in your nervous system, subconscious, because that's good. Some of the trauma stuff. Elizabeth is severe executive dysfunction, a lack of serotonin or dopamine, because that's in the world of ADHD. I mean, it's we talk about that a lot. Elizabeth, are there neurodevelopment diagnoses when your brain doesn't produce enough dopamine? Absolutely. How to stop getting triggered about past fights that have been resolved? That's a great question. Have you ever gotten borderline personality disorder patients? Yeah, that's a lot. The borderline, the cry of the borderline is I hate you, don't leave me. And then we've got some more. Oh, there's a good one that Caleb, I apologize we didn't get to yours tonight. Do you have tips for anxious drivers? Got in a crash a year ago, get super sweaty while driving, because I've worked with a couple of people that have had that scenario. How do you get over wanting something you can't have? Can you talk about neurofeedback? So I'll do an episode. Would I put it out on the Murder on the Couch, or would I put it in the virtual couch?
What are you talking about?
If I answer all these questions without you.
Would you put it on? We don't have a Murder on the Couch. What are you saying?
I know. Okay. I'll do like a just a YouTube video of answering a bunch of these questions, maybe speed round. Okay, Reddit.
Reddit.
Is that the theme song?
Sure.
I like it.
Reddit. And you guys should follow because I'm going to be the Reddit story soon. I have crap to talk about someone, but I'm still processing it.
Will you write it up as if, oh, hey, TikTok just said, you've gone live for 90 minutes. Great job. Don't forget to take a break.
No. Okay.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. And Erla, what do you think about NPD? Just go look right now. Waking Up to Narcissism, Tony Overbay. I've got a mere 111 episodes where I talk about narcissistic personality disorder. So go check that out for real.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
My partner, 32 male, and I, 30 female, took a break after 8 years. Should I give him more time? My partner and I have been together for 8 years. A few years ago, I got sick and didn't know the cause till 6 months ago. It turned out to be a treatable disease with lifestyle modifications. I won't go into details, but it was very debilitating, and I could barely function some days. I was also out of work at the time. Are you eating?
Are
you eating snacks right next to the microphone right now?
Let's get them out real quick.
Okay. I won't go into details, but it was very debilitating, and I could barely function some days. I was also out of work at the time. This caused a strain on our relationship, and my partner felt like he had to worry about me constantly. You're really chewing on those, aren't you?
They're M&Ms. It was a candy shell.
They're M&Ms. Which really put a strain on him. Dude!
Okay, I'll put them away.
Another strain on our relationship. No way. Do I need to throw those away? Okay.
I'm good.
Are you okay?
There are 2 pipes. I think I just like M&Ms in like my lung cavity now.
They were too much.
Okay.
Weak.
Oh, okay. What?
I won't go into details, but
I'm not going to answer your questions.
It's very debilitating, and I could barely function some days. I was out of work at the time. This caused a strain on our relationship.
I wasn't paying attention because I was being hilarious in my own. Can you just back up a little bit more? Because I was paying a lot of attention.
Honestly,
you got mad at me for chewing my M&Ms.
Yes. Okay. My partner and I have been together for 8 years. A few years ago, I got sick and didn't know the cause till 6 months ago. It turned out to be a treatable disease with lifestyle modifications. I won't go into details, but it was very debilitating, and I could barely function some days. I was also out of work at the time. This caused a strain on our relationship, and my partner felt like he had to worry about me constantly, which really put a strain on him. Another strain on our relationship was my partner started to have very bad anxiety and a quarter-life crisis. He started worrying about all of the things he hadn't been able to do in his life, and having low self-esteem, feeling badly about himself, all of those things. One area he felt badly about was that I was the only person he has ever been with, and he was a virgin before we met in our mid-20s. He grew up in a conservative culture before moving to the US for school. All of these issues led to us taking a 3-month-long break where I moved out and we didn't talk or text. We just hit the 3-month mark and reconnected. I'm doing much better on my side. My health has greatly improved after my diagnosis and some time for healing. I also have a job, and I've been reaching out to friends and building my support network. The break helped him relax a little, but he is still in the same place when we took the break. I don't think it was long enough for him to make progress with his issues. He's still anxious, still feels like he hasn't lived his life, and is missing out. He didn't even try dating anyone during this time apart. He has planned a few months of travel coming up, until about October. He is traveling on and off. He says he doesn't want to be together until he's done traveling because he feels like he will worry about me too much if he's away and we are together. He won't feel free to do the things he wants to do without worrying about me. He also wants to be able to talk to women /flirt, whatever, /flirt/whatever, and says he will feel tied down if we are together. He basically cannot be in a committed relationship right now, but he says he still wants to see me during this time.
Okay, do you even need to finish this one? Like I was like taking all these notes, but this guy sounds a bit.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, when he's home because he misses me and loves me. I'm feeling very depressed
when he's home and he needs some validation. Now, oh my gosh, now I really care about you again. But when I travel, I don't have to worry about you. And I need to be able to talk to other women. And I really haven't gone out and sown my wild oats. So, but when I come back though, I think that we should probably hang out again.
And also, whether you're in a relationship or not, wouldn't you still be worried about someone that you love while you're traveling?
That's good. I wrote that too. And then a couple of things though. At first I was giving her a lot of the benefit of the doubt there with the, out of work. So she's out of work. And so then that probably lowers her emotional baseline and his anxiety and then his low self-esteem. Then all of a sudden he wants her to probably validate him and tell him he's okay. And then that's where she said he had his quarter life crisis. And so he started thinking about all the things that he hasn't done with his life. So again, that's those, as a guy, you deal a lot with midlife crisis. And that's where, man, I always thought I was going to be a professional baseball player. I thought I was going to live by the beach. I thought I was going to be an astronaut. And so then when I feel bad about that, then I need you to tell me it's okay. You're awesome the way you are. But no, it's a me thing. So that's when people are going through that, they need even more validation. And so if he already had that anxiety, low self-esteem, so then how did he do it? He's like, you know what? I think I want to date other people. That would give me a dopamine bump, but I also need you to be okay with it because that'll make me feel better too. So now enter into the world of now he needs to control how other people react around him to feel love. I need to control you. I need you to love me when I need you to love me. But when I need to go love somebody else, then you need to be cool with it. Is that all right? Yeah. And then I like this comment that she made. She said, I don't think the break was long enough for him. And then I was starting to go down this path of a lot of times. So as a couples therapist, sometimes you do have a couple that you'll help them do an intentional separation. And the difference with an intentional separation is they maybe need that separation to even lower maybe her cortisol or stress level so that she doesn't feel like she always has to do the right thing or be on or maybe the same for him. But then intentional means that then you're not just going to go, I'm going to set up a couple of trips. Now at this point, you're digging deep into your own therapeutic process. You're, maybe getting into yoga, maybe a little Tai Chi. You're working on raising your baseline so that then you can show back up in the relationship without needing the validation. But what happens so often is that you get that intentional separation and one person then uses it to really work on themselves. And the other person is like, yeah, I was just too busy. And so then that's the pattern that was probably happening in the relationship.
And then when you come back together, the person who worked on themselves is up here and they're still.
But then, the person in the more emotionally immature place, now they're going to try to they need to verbally control the person because they don't feel good. And all of a sudden, if this person's raising their emotional baseline, well, they might leave me. So what do I do as an immature person? I start telling them all the things that I don't know if I like what you're doing there. Here's what I need you to do.
Yeah.
That's where I went back earlier, where if your baseline's high and now they're trying to tell you how you're supposed to think or feel, it's back to hitting the bricks. Yeah.
And what kind of annoys me with this one too is like, it's not wrong of him to want to like live his life if that's what he wants to do.
For sure.
It's not wrong of him to like do that, but do that then. Like cut it off completely. Because if you care about this person like you say you do, then you don't want to drag them along with you like that.
It's not fair. And it's
he's using her as a security blanket.
Yeah.
Like very clearly. Like he's just keeping, it's like the last story we read. It's like from last episode, he's keeping her on the back burner just in case.
Just in case.
He lives his life and doesn't like travel and find a hotter girl.
Right.
For
sure.
So I don't know. That one's a little shady to me. It's just,
I want to say a little shady.
Very shady.
Yeah. Because
very shady. I hate when people do that, when they just like drag their ex or soon to be ex along, like just in case things don't work out. That's so disrespectful.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And that's like, as again, back to the marriage therapist vibe when I'm trying to help somebody communicate that. But then here comes that concept of differentiation where if for her, if it brings up man, I don't like the way that feels. And then what is that telling you? It's telling you, I actually deserve to be a priority in a relationship. So then if he's saying, well, I need you to wait for me or to, just be available when I am. Well, I don't like that. That doesn't feel good. That's a you issue. And so then I have to have the courage to say, so I can't do that. And so then if he's like, well, what am I supposed to do then? It's like, well, that's a you issue. Yeah.
And it's like, well, he's like going out and traveling. Like, what is she supposed to do?
Just wait.
Like literally just wait. Yeah. Like, it's ridiculous.
It is. Okay. Sid, you ready to go home and pack for our move? Last live in California.
Crazy.
You gonna miss it?
Yeah.
Okay. So thanks for everybody's support. Jack says your daughter's incredibly beautiful.
don't forget about us when we go to Arizona, guys.
Yeah. So what's gonna be fun about there? We're putting together a little bit more of a studio. We're in my therapy office here. We're gonna have a little studio there, and we're gonna try to do some more regular. Like we want to have a regular time when you can count on when we're gonna be live. Like that'll be fun. Wait, what are you smiling? Didn't you say that?
No, we do want to do that. I'm just like, oh gosh.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I can do it though. I can do it. I'm a man.
Really?
Yes.
Tell me more about that.
And that's for next time.
Okay. Good night, everybody. Take it easy. Costco pants. So somebody did ask about your pants.
I thrifted them, so I'm not really sure like where they're from, but
bought all the patterns.
They're cool pants, right?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Mila or Mila, I apologize, but she loves these lives. We love you.
We love you.
That's for the next episode, Dog Runner. Okay.
And now we sit here in silence and make you all uncomfortable.
Do you know there's a thing where you can Google this? If you stare, it's like the thing where you stare into somebody's eyes for 5 solid minutes. And it's supposedly like you'll fall in love with anybody. Isn't that wild?
That is not true.
It's supposedly about like the first 30 to 45 seconds. It's like just hilarious. Then it gets really weird for a couple minutes. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh, thanks, Hannah. Me too. I do sometimes tell her, thank you so much. She's really nice. Okay. Here you go. Before you go.
What are your favorite TV shows? I'm watching Married at First Sight.
Oh, thanks, Polly.
Season 9 is so good. I love the ones where I hate everyone.
What are you watching?
Married at First Sight season 9. I can't tell you where it's streaming because I'm allegedly watching it illegally.
Wait, but I have all the streaming services.
Not this one.
Whisper.
Not this
what
one.
Is it?
I don't know.
I really do. Matter of fact, I think I pay for a couple of them twice.
Well, you need to pay for this one. Actually, you don't. I actually have it covered. Look it up on Reddit, you guys. They have plenty of links.
Okay, but are they like available on the legitimate streaming services?
Yeah, of course.
So I literally have them.
No, you don't.
I have Netflix and Hulu and Max and Peacock
it's
and
called
Discover
like Cinemark or something.
That's a movie app.
I don't make the apps.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Bye, guys.
Good night, everybody. Have a great. Thanks, Mackie, for moderating. Thanks, Wendy, for questioning.
Thanks.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Here we go. Press that thing. Good night, everybody.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
What is au revoir?
That was a good one, man.
Don't forget your YouTube.
Dude. Oh, that's okay. Okay, but see, then people see that a father likes to tell his daughter, nice job. There's a person here.
We got one person.
By the way, so one person. We just had 14,000 viewers on TikTok, and we had 4 or 5 here. Isn't that funny? Good night, everybody.